What's going on, folks? Welcome back to the channel. So I watched a video from another YouTube channel where they did a burn down on this pistol, the TSOS Raider, and he was having problems with it. And, he had a lot of problems with the pistol. Now, my pistol, this has got, I don't know, probably over 1,000 rounds, not too much. And I've never had an issue with this pistol. Now, two different pistols, okay? He clearly was having issues with his pistol. And I'm not here to defend this pistol, but I think I can diagnose a few things going on in his video, which could be fixed very easily. Now, should his pistol come from the factory working perfectly? Yes, I believe it. I believe it should. I don't believe he should have to tweak anything, mess with anything, do any of that. I believe companies should sell their products in working order. But a couple of things that maybe he's not aware of. I don't think he's a 1911 guy per se. So there are quirks with the 1911, especially, let me start off by saying this, especially production 1911s. Production 1911s or mass-produced 1911s are a relatively new thing. When I say that, relatively new, a couple decades old, not as old as when the pistols first came out in 1911. It's my understanding that every single one, now they were mass produced, but they had to be hand fit. All of the military ones, they had to have some sort of hand fitting for each individual pistol. It was just a thing. So when you just start mass producing these without any hand fitting, and you're just throwing the parts together and shipping them out the door, that's where I think they get a lot of their reputation, where there are some problems with them, because I believe that this gun, I don't know if it's more than any other handguns out there, but the stacking tolerances on this one, certain things are out of spec, and then it just comes off the rails. Not literally. I mean, it just doesn't work. but I don't want anybody like it'll come off the rails. No. I don't mean literally. I mean the train will come off the rails with a few out of spec areas, and the stacking tolerances will make it not work properly. But what I believe, and I believe he even sent it back to the factory and it came back and he was still having issues. One thing for people that aren't aware with 1911s, especially lower end budget, but even some of the higher end ones, you really have to test, okay, your 1911 magazines in the pistol. I know people think all 1911 magazines are created equal. They're not. So where was I? Oh, all 1911 magazines are not created equal, okay? I did a video of that. I will put the link down below in the description, where I talk about specifically, I'm not talking about, I had these dorks come in my video, but you didn't talk about the mag body and the floor plate. I'm not talking about that. I say at the beginning of the video that I'm focusing on the feed lip angle, not the followers, not the mag body, not the spring, not the floor plate. My video is discussing the differences, and I think I had 10 separate magazines where almost all of them have different feed lip angles, different release times, all kinds of different stuff. Watch the video. All 1911 magazines are not created the same. Sometimes if you buy this 1911 magazine, it won't work well in like my Les Baer or my Ed Browne, but it'll work perfectly in this TSOS, the one it came with, right? And this is the gun that the YouTuber talked about was using it. It did like a 3,000 round burn down on it or whatever, and he was clearly having issues. But that's the one thing. First of all, as a 1911 shooter, and I've been shooting them for decades, okay? 3-4+ decades. You must go through and find mags that work. So you got to go to the range. You got to test mags that work, set those aside. Because I used to shoot them a lot in competition, in single stack and stuff like that. You get your mags that work. Usually the Wilson Combat mags work for the higher end guns, the Trip Research, stuff like that, right? So not all 1911 mags in 45 in any caliber are created equal. That's the first thing. A seasoned 1911 vet knows that right off the rip. Like, you cannot just slap in a freaking Kimber sometimes it will work, but you shouldn't be surprised if it doesn't, because if you're slapping in, like, let's say a 1911 Kimber mag in this and it doesn't work, Okay, it's the mag, because if you use the mech guards that came with it or some of the other ones, they'll work just fine. So you got to go through and find half a dozen or more magazines that will work perfectly in your pistol. I know you shouldn't have to, but it's a thing because of all the variances in all the different manufacturers of 1911s, okay? Now, another thing I noticed, he was having failures to feed constantly. He was getting caught up like this. What I believe was going on with his pistol, and I will show you an example of this, was I believe the extractor tension was too much. It was too hard on his gun. And one way to test that with the 1911 is you take it apart, okay? All right, you got your slide, right? You get a little Allen wrench right here. There is your extractor, okay? Let's see if we can get it. There's your extractor right there. Look at the back right there. That's the back of it, okay? It's held in by this plate right here, okay? By this firing pin stop. That's called the firing pin stop. See that thing right there? That's a firing pin stop. To test if your tension is set correctly, there's an old gunsmith trick some old guys taught me. You take a cartridge, you stick it in there, and you should feel a little bit of resistance, and it should hold the cartridge like that. It should be able to be flopped around a little bit. You don't want too much. If you have to really jam it in there and it's holding it like tight like that, and you cannot move it up and down, too much spring tension. Conversely, if you stick it up in there, if you press and see, let me see if I can do it right here. So I'm pressing it in. See how it's holding it? It should hold it just like that. And you should have a little bit. If you press it in and it falls out immediately, you need to adjust the extractor tension. Now, there are tools, little jigs you can buy to do that, to get the proper tension and stuff like that. I just strong arm it and take a pair of pliers and bend it. So basically, you take the firing pin, you push in the firing pin, right? Here's your firing pin right there. You push in the firing pin, push down on the firing pin stop. Make sure you put your finger over it because the firing pin will pop out. Take out your firing pin. These come with titanium firing pins, by the way. The spring is stuck in there, which it shouldn't be. It came out. Now you have your extractor in there. So if you're able to push it out, sometimes you got to take a little screwdriver or something like this, pop it up right there, and pull it out. See if we can get it out. Sometimes they're a bear, and if they're done correctly, they can be kind of tight in here. Okay. So here is your extractor on a 1911. It's got, if I hold it straight, I don't know if it's coming through. Let me see. It's got a slight bend to it. Okay. This is basically like a leaf spring, like on old trucks, how the suspension in the back used to be a bunch of curved pieces of metal, curved leaf springs. That's basically what it is. It's a leaf spring with a hook on the end. If it is too straight, the extractor, it will not hold the cartridge. The extractor will skip over the rim and you'll have failure to extract. If it has too much bend and tension in it, the cartridges will not be able to push up under this hook, because this is where they go. They push up under the hook right there. That's why the bottom of this, if you'll notice, it might not come through on camera, but the bottom of that is curved. A lot of them will have an angle or a curve on there on the bottom, whereas they're on top, yeah, it's not really coming through. They're sharp and straight, because the cartridge has to, when it's feeding up, the cartridge has to slip up under it and sit just like that. If it's too loose, when you fire, it'll skip right off and leave the empty case in the chamber, or it'll fumble it around and leave it jammed up in there. If the tension is too much, if there's too much extractor tension on here, it'll go like this, boop, and it'll sit like that. It'll fail to push up over it. And it won't do it every time. It'll typically do it in the first couple rounds of the magazine, because that's when the most tension is pushing up on the magazine spring and the rest of the rounds. And there's a lot of tension in there trying to feed it up. Usually when there's not a lot of tension pushing it up, and it varies. You could shoot through one 8-round magazine and have 1 or 2 of them, and it won't do it every single round. Now, if it's really, really tight, it'll be really tough to actually get in the gun. But let's remember, in case you didn't know, it's my understanding that when John Browning designed this gun, it had an external extractor with a spring pushing it down like modern guns. But the Army said, make an internal extractor, come up with a way to make an internal extractor so that soldiers can't tear it apart, because they like to take things apart and fiddle with things and break their guns, which is ironic how they have the MHS, the modular handgun, where you can take the whole internal parts apart, you know. But there it is. I think in his video, if I was able to spend 2 minutes with that gun, I would have been able to diagnose it and get and I believe the extractor tension is it's got too much tension on the extractor to feed the cartridges up reliably and let them push up behind the extractor hook. Now, is that something he should have to fix? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It should work right out of the box. I'm a big proponent, big fan of guns coming in working order. That really bothers me when companies put out guns that aren't bothering. But just watching his video of him firing those rounds, that's what I think's going on. I think he would have a different result if he stuck to the factory magazines that the gun was tested with. Again, going back to my previous statement that all single stack 1911 magazines are not created equal. Check out the video below. You'll see major differences in feed lips, feed lip angle, feed lip. Some are like this, some are straight, some have a real sharp drop off where they release the cartridge. Some of them flare out. Some of them are shorter than this, so they release the cartridge earlier. Some of them are longer, so they release the cartridge later. And some of that has to do with the type of ammunition you're shooting. If you're shooting semi-wad cutters in a bullseye gun, you want it to, and the overall length of the cartridge is shorter. Typically you want the magazine to hold on to the cartridge longer so that it starts to go in the chamber before it releases and snaps up under the extractor hook. And if you have them longer, like they're 230s and they're out to max length, which I think is 1.160. I think that's what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. But if you have them close to max length, you want them to release sooner, because if they're still holding on to it, that could be part of the problem. So you'd have to diagnose which magazine could be possibly giving you issues. First thing I would do if I was him, and again, he should not have to do this. He's a customer. But I'm just saying, if it was my pistol, and you see I have the Raider, if I was having similar problems with mine, the first thing I would do was check the extractor tension. If I felt it was too hard to push that cartridge up underneath and it was really holding on to it super tight, I'd bend it out a little bit. I stick it in some pliers and a hole in the bench or whatever, and just give it a little bend. And listen, doing it that way, you'll have to bend it out and then try shoot again. Bend it out, try shoot again. It's one of those things. You might nail it the first time, and then I would test 100, 200 rounds with just the factory magazines that it came with, and then go through and try the Wilsons and some of that one. Man, listen, I've had auto ordnance 1911s that will not work with Wilson Combats, but it works perfectly with the cheap Colt GI mags or Metgars. I had one, it would not work with, it was an auto ordnance GI model from way back in the day. It would not work properly with Metgar mags, and Metgar mags are very good magazines. It would not work with Metgars. It would not work with Wilson Combats, but you get the standard, the one it came with, which is a standard GI model or mag, and like Colt mags, standard Colt mags, the standard GI profile follower feed limit, run like a top. Run like a top. It had no issues whatsoever. So there it is. Hopefully this helps some of you out there. What do you think? Have you seen this guy's video? I'm not going to name him, but have you seen his video? Did some of the 1911 guys notice the same thing? I don't know if you left comments in there. I didn't go through and read all the comments. But there it is. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time.